Something I struggled with a lot of my life was body dysmorphia. I was very insecure about my body for so many years. I was afraid of showing my body to others. I would always wear sweatshirts to hide my arms because I was so just I didn't like looking at my arms. I didn't like people looking at them because I was always afraid of what they would say, of how they would perceive me. I've always been thin growing up, and when I was at when I was in school growing up, a lot of people would always ask me if I was anorexic, if I was on drugs, and this really just weighed on me heavy. All the comments people would make about my body, and I always felt like I just was weird. I felt like I looked weird, like I wasn't normal like everyone else. So what I did was I just always hid my body. I hid under sweatshirts. I would always have my hood up, just hiding myself. And this really just created a lot of just depression and self-hate. I really did not like my body at all. And it wasn't until I started really connecting with myself, connecting with how I felt truly within myself. That's when I started working through these insecurities. And I started getting the confidence to try actually showing myself to the world. Actually making videos helped with this because it was a way for me to kind of express myself in a new way, to show myself and be seen. And I was terrified to make videos at first. When I first started recording myself on video, I hated how I sounded. I hated the way I spoke, but I just moved through that fear, moved through that uncomfortable feeling and fear of rejection that I had. And that's what I did with my body as well. I started wearing t-shirts. I remember the first time I put on a t-shirt out in summer. I was always kind of afraid of when summer hit or when spring hit, when the weather started getting warm. Winter was more of my comfort weather because I could wear sweatshirts and it wasn't weird. But when I was wearing sweatshirts in the spring or summer, people were always like, "Aren't you hot?" And really I was just sweating sweating my balls off, but I was just so afraid of revealing, what was under there. It was a very vulnerable place for me. And I also didn't like being touched either because, I was always kind of rejected in the past when I was a child or growing up. Being touched was just a very scary thing for me. And it created a lot of problems for me, with relationships and connections. I would always push people away because I didn't want to get to that step where they would see these parts of myself that I didn't love, these parts of myself that deeply needed more love. So yeah, part of that process of becoming more confident in my body, loving my body more, accepting it as it is, was just allowing it to be seen, being vulnerable and risking being rejected. It was like an act of love for me to do that for myself. And then I started speaking to my body in a much better way. I started really telling myself that I loved my body, that it's beautiful how it is. It's okay how it is, This is my body. This is how it formed. And it was a tough process. It was a grieving process of grieving how many years I spent hiding, how many years I spent just hermiting away from others, pushing away connections that I've, really felt for. Whenever I had a deep crush on a girl or I wanted to have a relationship, that always prevented me from getting closer. And there's just this void within myself that was growing and growing. The more I hid, the more I rejected myself. And this just made me feel rejected by others as well. But now that I've grown through those insecurities, I'm able to have my shirt off around others. I'm able to just be more free in my body. And it's such a freeing feeling, going from that place of really just rejecting my body so much that I did not want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be seen anywhere, to this place where I can actually show myself. I can be confident in my body. I feel more attractive. I feel just more love in myself. And I'm able to share more love with others because of that love that I have cultivated within myself. So anybody going through this, having body issues, self-image issues, I know it's tough. I know it's such a hard thing to go through when we get these beliefs and thoughts programmed into our mind about ourselves. But just remember that these are just thoughts. These are just beliefs that have been ingrained within you in your younger years, and you can reprogram these beliefs. You can reprogram these thoughts about yourself. It does take work. It does take going out of your comfort zone. I think that's the biggest thing, is allowing yourself to be vulnerable and see yourself in a new light. See yourself in a way that you never thought you would before. Nurture yourself as you would a child that you're trying to encourage, because that's ultimately what it is your inner child that you are healing, your inner child that you are being there for, being that strong figure, that strong loving figure for. So yeah, I just want to share that with you guys, because that's a part of my story that I feel like is very important. It was important for my growth. It's been important for my growth, and I'm still working on it as well. I'm still working on being more vulnerable, being more open to intimacy, being more open to just the chance of being rejected. Because every time we put ourselves out there, every time we're uncomfortable and we put a part of ourselves out there that we were once afraid of being seen, or we're still afraid of being seen, it gives us that chance to expand. It gives us that chance to become a new version of ourselves and to reprogram those beliefs. So I encourage all of you to give yourself some more love today, to give your body more love, to give your body more acceptance as it is now in the present. All right, guys, I hope this message helps you or inspires you today. I just wanted to share a little bit of my story. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to my channel, Soul Expansion, if you want to hear more messages like this in the future. I appreciate you. Peace and much love.